Hello and welcome to another episode of the Menswear Style Podcast. I'm your host, Pete Brooker, and today I am talking to the founder of URBAG, Marie Callan. URBAG is, or maybe URBAG, we'll get into that, but URBAG is a British brand pioneering sustainability in the fashion aftercare industry, driven by a strong environmental spirit and desire for innovation and circularity. URBAG is a social enterprise on a mission to rid the world of single-use plastic garment covers with a smarter, more luxurious, reusable and sustainable alternative. By eliminating single-use plastic in an industry rife with excess plastic consumption, we hope to create a new blueprint for business and consumers alike. And that I peeled from the URBAGofficial.com website, obviously. So there you go. And we're going to be talking now to the founder and telling us all about how this came together. The founder for URBAG, Marie Callan.
Hello. Yeah, thank you for having me on this podcast. So my name is Marie Callan. I am the founder of URBAG. Some people will say URBAG, but still to be decided. So how do I present this to my friends? I created URBAG to tackle single-use plastic in the fashion aftercare industry. So namely dry cleaning and laundry services. And to do so, I have designed a duffle and garment bag combo, so 3-in-1 bag that allows customers to use only one bag to drop off, collect, and store their clothes from the dry cleaner. So the bag, which is more than just a product, it's a project that was designed to address the lack of convenience, really, in dry cleaning and the unnecessary use of plastic. That's something that's always been driving me crazy. I just thought, something else needed to exist, especially in the age of innovation and climate change. Why on earth were we still using plastic in dry cleaning? And that's how URBAG was born, to really be a product, a solution-focused product that combines style, function, and sustainable fabric.
Amazing. Well, Marie, you must have been under the breakfast table the other morning when I was talking to my girlfriend Anastasia, because it really does grind my gears, the amount of plastic that we get back from the dry cleaners. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And when I stumbled upon your brand, I was like, well, that makes sense. I'm just amazed that I've not heard about this sooner, or it's not more prevalent in my stream. But what was your background coming into this?
So I arrived, I'm French born, as you can hear. So I arrived here about 16, 17 years ago. And I initially was working for the Financial Times Group for about 7 years. And I obviously worked with numbers of publications within the group. But the big change for me was when I joined the what they call the Financial Times Live. So the event side of the Financial Times, where they organize roundtable. And this is where I started getting familiar with sustainability and what they called a business for good. So combining businesses with government policymakers and NGOs to drive sustainability agenda within the businesses. And that's where I really starting to realize all this space about sustainability and how we can change the world really through business. And I stayed there for a couple of years. When I ended up my 7 years at the Financial Times, I decided to do some field work. So I moved into social enterprises and charity world for a few years in Europe and Sub-Saharan Africa, where I drove a number of projects from microfinance to carbon offset programs. And then I jumped into the entrepreneurial world when I met one of my co-founders of my previous startup and addressing waste in packaging waste, more specifically in e-commerce delivery. And then things we separated, we parted ways, and I then created URBAG that way on my way back from work. And I just was so frustrated with my dry cleaning plastic. And I had a project in mind. I was pregnant, about to give birth to my first baby. So I had plenty of time. And that's how the project started, really.
And so, whilst you were feeling your way around at the beginnings of this project, was there anything else around at the same time that was solving this issue?
But this is exactly where the project started, because one day I was coming back to the dry cleaner, not because we do dry cleaning, it's mainly because I was taking the shirts, like many others, in fact. We take our shirts to the dry cleaner because I have no intention to do laundry and ironing the shirts.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm with you.
And I think I'm not the only one in this case.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, let me find something, because I had to carry my bag where I put my clothes to drop off to the dry cleaner, but then the dry cleaner always refused to keep my bag. One of them, in fact, told me, I'm not here to do your recycling or take your waste. And fairly enough, if they do that for every client, they never end. So, and then I feel like I have garment bag at home, but I never came around to bringing those with me to the dry cleaner. So I looked at the solution and nothing. I looked on Chinese website, Amazon, the US, and I thought there's nothing out there that could be convenient. It's not possible. And my dry cleaner said they didn't have any solution either. So that's how I feel like that's so frustrating. And surely there must be something. So I didn't find anything, and I started analyzing, okay, well, if I have to bring a bag to the dry cleaner and I have to take my clothes in a garment bag, why don't we just do a combo bag?
Yeah.
And I looked for it, nothing, at least not available at all to a B2C market, nothing that we can find in any shops or any website for that matter. So this is when I had my hooray, moment. I thought, maybe I should try to do something about this.
There's something
but
there.
I had no background in fashion or no background in dry cleaning, but I had plenty of time. And I had my baby at the time, just born, so I had plenty of time to think and plenty of evenings to do some prototypes, and that's how the ideas was born, really.
Okay, I want to get into that. I want to drill down on the process of how you managed to get the prototypes together. But before that, I will say that the virgin plastic that you get from dry cleaners is the most useless plastic as well, because they pierce it at one end to put over the hanger, and then it's open-ended at the other so you can get the garment out, but you can't use it even as like a bin bag or anything because it's already pierced at one end. So what you have is like this open sleeve of plastic that you can literally just do nothing with apart from ball it up and throw it into recycling, and hope that they take it, because you shouldn't be putting that in recycling anyway.
But that's exactly the point, Peter, because they actually, some dry cleaners said, you can recycle them. And I went to one of a big recycling center in London, and they said, actually, no, we don't recycle them because they block the machines. The double layer of plastic block the machine. So they have these big belts and these big vacuums in the ceiling. And as soon as they see those plastic bags, they vacuum them out. Not that they see them often, because most people don't put them in a recycling bin.
Right.
But they're not recyclable, and they're not biodegradable either. As we know, plastic will degrade in microplastic anyway.
Yeah. It's the worst kind of plastic. That's what I mean. I agree with you. It's just, it has literally no use. I mean, like, if you buy plastic bags, or at least I try and make several other uses out of them. Maybe I'll take them again to the shops or I'll do the cat litter trays with them or whatever. I make sure that, it's not just one plastic bag and that's it going into trash. But with these things, it is the most painful of plastic. And also, you touched upon it there, where people go to dry cleaners, not just to get stuff dry cleaned, but to get stuff ironed. I mean, I've been guilty of that as well. And I saw like this business van the other day that the name of the business, and this free promotion for them, but it's literally just said IHateIroning.com, and that's the business. It's a very niche market, but I did think it was a little bit harsh on the people that work for that company. You're basically saying that I do the worst job in the world, unless you really love ironing, then you're kind of you have that
Yeah,
conflict.
but I think that from a brand perspective, that's great. I know those guys. They actually have uh, they have a laundry factory not too far from where I live. So I see them all the time as well. And I think the branding is brilliant actually, because a lot of people that will touch point of the on the pain that people feel about ironing. And I know it's not very nice to the people that they do iron, but most of us don't want to take the time or is not patient enough to do that, you know.
Well,
So I
also,
think it's great.
it's genius branding. If you burn all the shirts anyway, let's just say you, and then you go, well, how you burned all my shirts? And you go, well, I hate ironing. That's the name of the company.
Exactly.
You gave me your shirts. You kind of threw the dice on that one. I mean, it says it on the van, very clearly logo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I digress. Please, Marie, talk about the. You're about to go into the prototype. So where do you start with that if you don't have the background of fashion or pattern making or making garments and garment holders? Where were the first touchstones?
Yeah, that was a very interesting journey, actually. So where do you start where you don't even know where to start?
Right. Yeah.
So that was my first point, and I thought, okay, well, I have kind of an idea in my head, and I'm not even good at drawing, so I could not draw it. But I thought I'm gonna take a plastic sheet, not plastic sheet, a bed sheet, sorry, and I started doing small prototype like this, and it took me forever, quite frankly, quite a few evenings while the baby was sleeping, to do this bag. And I tried to find different solutions. How can you make a bag, a duffel bag that unfolds into a garment bag, but keep it hygienic? Because how are we gonna? Okay, you have dirty laundry. Do you really want them to be in touch or in contact with your clean laundry? Not really. So. I just did many prototypes, some small, some big, and then one day, the idea was kind of there, but I didn't have the skills to do it properly. So I took a sewing course. I borrowed a sewing machine from my friends, and then once I had my first prototype more or less finished, I went to see a private seamstress and explained the project to her. And she helped me finalize the details from a professional, standpoint. So making sure that the zip was working well, or the opening at the top was working well, while keeping the water out. All these little details. And then from there, I contacted a number of social enterprises to help me manufacture in London. I wanted to be very close to the design because at the time I just got the registered design granted by the UK IPO. And I wanted to make sure that we can develop this project quickly. And so I found this little social enterprise that was doing great jobs with refugee women, so providing work and training. And that was very well aligned with the value that I wanted to promote. So we developed this project, and the first production run at that time. Another challenge, quite frankly, when you do these kind of things is to source your materials.
Right.
So you have to do it with no knowledge. So I had to research textile and what is the best textile that would keep the shape, but will be waterproof, but it's not really ethical or sustainable. So what are the different technology that are going to help me making this product work? So I managed to find this textile innovator in Europe and starting sourcing. Obviously, you spend a lot of time on the internet trying to source different materials. You make a lot of mistakes. And people don't necessarily want to deal with very small startups because we are not ordering the quantities that a manufacturer or a supplier will want from you. So it takes quite a lot of time for a startup to convince a manufacturer, suppliers to work with you. But once you have your special supplier book, You have to keep them very close, and I think there you can start, developing your first production run and think about what's going to be the next step in terms of supply.
And how did you manage to hoodwink the suppliers? Was it just a matter of convincing them that this was a very, very good idea?
No, so because I had these registered design, I didn't want to speak a lot about the project to many people, because you have to approach a lot of manufacturers and suppliers, and it's just really personal relationships. When you have a good chat, explain what you're trying to do, so the general idea of a project, but not going into details. And it happens that with this manufacturer, for instance, they had a UK representative here in London who we met, and we had a very good first connection, and they accepted to supply me with only 500 meters of fabric instead of a standard 1,000. But it's purely the relationship that you develop with your suppliers.
Interesting. By the way, I did like the slogan, "Where do you start when you don't know where to start?" I feel like that could be the title for your next coffee table book.
That's true.
It's like I can imagine loads of people just Googling that. Like, I have no idea where to begin. Can someone point me in the right direction?
Exactly. And you have to accept that you're going to spend quite a lot of time. You just have to start somewhere. So spend a lot of time trying.
Yeah, and I guess, like you mentioned, the trial and error of different fabrics when you don't have the experience going into it, and especially dealing with like unknown quantities of suppliers abroad and stuff like that, and nurturing those relationships and making sure you get exactly what you want, not just in terms of the fabric, but in the designs that you had in your head. So yeah, I bet that was a process. You mentioned the grant as well. What do you mind? What grant was that? So this is how you raised the capital?
Yeah. So at the beginning, quite frankly, we're still very small. So the beginning, I invested most of my savings. And from there, we managed, with savings that I had, we managed to do the first production run, the first branding, and having to buy all the supplies. But then COVID hit. So by the time we developed the design, developed relationship and production, things like that, we were in December 2019, sorry. And then obviously, as we start in 2020, we already knew some things were going on, and we were about to launch. And then COVID hit. So I had my second baby in April that year. So we just put the project on hold. In the meantime, we had access to the bounce back loan.
Okay.
And through that, we managed to obviously get a loan to get us started again, because we were hoping to make all the money back with the sales pretty quickly, but obviously that didn't happen for quite a long time. The project being really centered around suits and evening wear, cocktail dresses, weddings. All of a sudden, nobody was going anywhere. So the project had almost no sense during COVID. So the bounce back loan allowed us to go back to trading. And then from there, obviously, we're starting to grow organically through sales, keeping the overheads quite low.
Right.
And the next step, in fact, will be to seek investments either from crowdfunding or probably angel investment at some point.
Very interesting. Well, we also spoke offline about the name of the bag, as in the name of the brand, and how it can be maybe mispronounced in one way or correctly mispronounced in another way.
Yes, exactly. And that's In fact, that's one of the questions that I have the most, even among my customers. How do you pronounce the name of your brand? So the idea originally was the combination of urban and bag. So I created URBAG this way, and this is the name and the pronunciation I had in my head originally. But then, especially in the Anglo-Saxon space, a lot of people were speaking about your bag. But it can also be your bag. It makes complete sense. So I think that would be, as we mentioned earlier, quite a good social media engagement or video and asking people, how would you pronounce that name?
Because I think it's definitely something that you read different to what you say. So I think you read it URBAG. I've been reading URBAG for the last couple of weeks whilst we've been back and forth on email. But like I said, just talking to you, I want to say URBAG because that makes, I guess, more sense.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a very British English thing, isn't it, to read and pronounce words completely differently, which was my main difficulty when I first learned English, actually.
And so, other than the name, what's been the reaction? So, you have the product, you've been out now for a couple of years. What's been the main feedback?
We had actually really good feedback. Most people say finally somebody came up with a smart idea.
Yeah.
Why nobody gave that solution before? Because the bag is not only a garment bag. It's a lot of my clients told me I take it as a travel bag, or I take it as to go shopping or to go to the beach, or as a weekend away bag. But I also take it to store my clothes, my seasonal clothes. So that's a really multi-use bag, and people have been really happy about having a solution to just drop off and collect your clothes without plastic. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, one of the most common questions that we had is a little bit of a concern about, but the dry cleaners, how they're reacting to this? Are they accepting the bag? Because we are not only bringing a bag, we're asking them to change the process of how they do things.
Yes.
And it's very true. And the answer to that, it's a little bit longer than what we would like. But you have two types of dry cleaners. You have the first one who will send all your clothes to factories, and that's where the problem is. That's why they have plastic, to protect the clothes during the transportation. And then you have all the dry cleaners that have everything on site, and this is therefore not an issue. So most people will ask their clothes naked, as they call it, so without plastic, and that's not an issue. They can just put the URBAG in it. Now, we work with a lot of dry cleaners, and nobody so far has been refusing the bag. Now, you do sometimes have to have conversations, but if you want to change a system, you have to have those conversations. So the dry cleaners' reality right now is that the cost of plastic almost tripled the last 2 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they came to a point where, that's very convenient to have plastic because it's single use, it's automated most of the time, but it's starting to cost us a lot of money for nothing, because ultimately people arrive home, take the plastic off the clothes and put it in the bin. If you, by the way, don't do that, you might stain your clothes by leaving the plastic on your clothes in the wardrobe. Because it stains the clothes.
Yeah.
So they're also very happy if you leave a bag behind, if they can use it to save cost on plastic. So if you leave a bag, and they may have to be introduced to the idea, but client is king. It's a very disseminated market, very competitive. We will see a lot of consolidation on the market, I think, especially after COVID. So people are fighting to keep clients happy, and they know plastic tax is coming. Today, they have to charge customers 10p for all the plastic bags that they give to the clients.
At least that's going, well, I mean, dry cleaners, but in shops, that's rocketing up now.
Yes, exactly. So there is a new law in the UK where plastic bags are not charged at 10p, not only on big businesses, but all the businesses need to apply this tax. Mm-hmm. Is it enforced all the time? No, but it will. And businesses, especially dry cleaners, need to start getting ready and then know it. So we actually been called by dry cleaners asking if they can stock the bag, offer the bag to their customers. And so the general feedback has been really good. But it's not only a product, it's a project. We're here to change a behavior. We're here to change industry processes because they're going to need to change. So it will take time. And when you suggest change, sometimes you are faced with resistance, but that's normal. And those conversations need to happen. Now, on the other hand, also of the spectrum is the customer that kind of had enough of looking a bit silly with a plastic sheet on your shoulder, over the shoulder, as you walk back from the dry cleaner. You know, you bring your bags, you never know what to do with your bag once you drop off your clothes. And then you have to take all this plastic over your shoulder back home where you're going to have to throw it away anyway. So offering a stylish, nice bag where the whole culture at the moment is starting to grow against plastic and to sponsor and promote bring your own bag. It's time. You have to ditch the single-use plastic culture. That's over. We need to change.
And you're right, it's an elegant way of actually going back and forth with the clothes that so it's kind of counterintuitive that you're looking after these clothes, you're really proud of them, you want them to have a good long life, but then the way that you're carrying them and transporting them, just they look like crap in these plastic sheets or schlopped in a bag. So it does make sense to have something quite elegant when you're looking after these clothes and you're in transportation with them. So Marie, I'm a fan. Love the product, love the idea, the philosophy, dig it, and I'm sure it's going to take off as soon as we create some more awareness and people actually find that this is a solution and that it's not such a bad thing to change habits. Because again, you touched upon it, that you're not just selling something, you're also trying to sell a different way of thinking or a different way of going about things, which is, it kind of has that extra add-on difficulty, but at the same time, once people plug into that, I'm sure it will then just reap the benefits of that and take off. So, the URBAGofficial.com or URBAGofficial.com is a place people can go. And your Instagram handle, we are URBAG?
Yes.
Is that the place you hang out? Is that where you hang out? Are you the lady behind it?
Yes, I am actually. I have a small team through as well helping you with social media, but I do most of it. Yes.
Awesome. So people, when they message you there, that will be you replying, which is good to know. And we'll put all the links over at menswearstyle.co.uk so people can check out the show notes there. But in the meantime, Marie, take care of yourself.
Thank you, Peter.
You've been listening to the Menswear Style podcast. Be sure to head over to menswearstyle.co.uk for more menswear content and email info@menswearstyle.co.uk if you would like to be a future guest on the show. Finally, please help support the show by leaving a review on iTunes or wherever you're listening to this podcast. Until next time.